I welcome you all in this unique session, which is more related to your life, and it is not typical surgical or medical knowledge. It's something about managing your future and managing your life stressless. Whenever a person passes from his post-graduation and plans for his future, he has many thoughts in his mind what he should do. Basically, all this depends on what you have already learned from in your early life. If you are from background of a 9-to-5 job, government jobs and private jobs, your mindset is like that only. And if you have come from some business background, you will have some another type of mindset. And all these depends on its own bringing up and personality of that person. But we are most of us come from humble background. So based on all these things, we have prepared a instruction course regarding challenges and strategies for establishing a private ophthalmology practice. And in this, I shall be talking on private practice options, why and how. So, we have dreams of becoming a successful practitioner because it gives pride to me, and I am very well prepared mentally to take risk involved in this, and I should not be afraid to take risk, because this is the only difference between a person who is doing job and who is opting for his own business is either basically two things. Number one, he is willful to take the risk, or whether he is having capital for that his private practice or not. These two things, or rather you can say that he is ready to burn his capital to take this risk to establish himself. Why he want to establish himself in the life is because of his dreams, to fulfill his dreams. And what he will have to do is that to fulfill his dreams of becoming popular, knowledgeable and rich, he will have some vision, and to fulfill this vision he should have the ability to take a risk, as well as he should have capital. Then only he can become a good practitioner. So, because most of the medical graduates come from humble background with no capital and no business background. So, job is their natural choice, and they get addicted to the salary day. This is very much addiction. You get salary day का हमेशा याद करते हैं, सैलरी मिलने के बाद भी और सैलरी मिलने के पहले भी, कि आज पैसा मिलेगा तो हम ये काम करेंगे, और धीरे धीरे उसकी आदत पड़ जाती है. And they call themselves a person who loves a hassle-free life. अब हर आदमी हर चीज को एक अच्छे तरीका से मानता है कि hassle-free life अच्छा है, ठीक है, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. लेकिन इसके अगेंस्ट आपके पास जो आय होता है, इनकम होता है, that is a very limited. Those are very limited. So, if you compare job versus private practice, you will see that though a job person having job maintains a healthy work-life balance because of fixed working hours and a structured routine, while in private practice, in early stages, you will have variable working hours but flexibility in sitting schedules, but will have fixed salary, where in private practice this can go up to the sky. And in job, basically you work for your employer, because employer have kept you to earn for himself, not for you. You are working for him in around most of the parties for the employer. And here you work for yourself. In some jobs, especially government jobs, they carry social status. But in private practice, that depends on your success and reputation. You also have have social status and repute. But in government job, there is very less responsibility in day-to-day work management, so there is tension-free life, while it is opposite in the other private practice. So, but here is a risk of losing the job. But at the same time, sometimes private practice failure can be there, but this can again be retaken up, or you can always join a job. And in job, you don't need a capital, and you get a gold-plated retirement benefit. But here you will have savings at the end of your life. But what is the most important difference between this job and private practice is one thing which in my feelings that hard work of all generation is lost. If you, at the end of retirement, you are not going to give anything to your child apart from money. But here in private practice, you build up a legacy. You can pass your business or your clinic to your ward or your children. This is the one of the most important difference which I could find out. So if you don't have money and don't want to take risk and want a peaceful life and have other, or because of some other liabilities, and you want a stable life, go for job. But how? Otherwise you should go for a practice. Practice can be taken up in a solo practice manner or in a group practice manner. So, doctor as an entrepreneur, solo proprietorship is the default option for most of us, and it is easiest one. You have absolute authority over the business here. You are the Malik, but you have unlimited liability too. Here you are the king, and you invest and you earn for yourself. But once you are sick or disabled, all your money is gone. So you are responsible for all your liabilities. And it is good option to start with, but your size remains small for a long period, as you don't have money to put into your hospital business, because it needs more capital, more skill, more science, and because of your liability and your solo nature, you will have to put it has a very limited size. So an entrepreneur makes a team and go for a partnership. Partnership is a relationship between person who have agreed to share the profits of your business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. So to grow, you need a team. It's a nice way to grow your business, as in this you share your liability. And most of the equipments are costly and could not be afforded in early days. Say your OT setup or other costly equipment, you can always share with your partner. We buy them and maintain them on sharing basis, and in this way we save huge amount of money, and money saved is the income. And this is feasible too, because we need them only for few hours. Let us suppose how many hours you need your phaco or angiography or OCT machine. You can always share, and you can share with company for also. It is but more complicated, but for young doctors whose business is small, but you can always opt in for company form later on after having partnership with business. Advantages of group practice are always there. The proprietorship form of ownership suffers from certain limitations, such as limited resources, limited skill, and unlimited liability. And expansion in business requires more capital and managerial skill, and also involves more risk. So partnership provides combined talent, judgment, and skill. One partner's weakness are compensated with other partners' strength, like vitreoretina and cornea. Capital requirement is met easily, and risk is distributed among the partners. But there is some disadvantage in group practice. Utmost faith and honesty is required. Respect to other views and emotions are most important thing. This is the most important reason for breakup of partnership. And legally there is unlimited liability. Like proprietorship, each partner has unlimited liability in the firm. This means that if the asset of the partnership firm falls short to meet the firm's obligation, the partner's private asset will also be used for the purpose. So this can be taken care by private limited company partnership. In company form, this liability is limited. And the other disadvantage is disagreement. Disagreement between partners over enterprise matters have destroyed many partnerships. And death or withdrawal of one partner can cause a lack of continuity. And with this, we can say that choice is always yours, depending upon your various factors which we have discussed. Both the options are, that is job or private practice is good option, depending upon your feasibility. Idea is to live a balanced, stress-free, healthy life with financial, stable life. And if you want to be in private practice and ready to take risk, but don't have capital, first go into job, save money. This is very important. You are in the job since the PG days. Save your amount, reinvest it properly, and make a corpus out of that. So you can, for first few years, you can go into the job, save money, and then switch to private practice. And then you can build up to a partnership or private company like setup. With this, I say thank you, and I have to start early because I thought the time is already getting late. Now I call upon Dr. Anjana Kumar for financial consideration. She is a private practitioner at Bihar, Patna, and she has been associated with several other institutes, and now she is having her setup in private practice in a partnership form.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for the invite. Good morning, everyone. The topic that I discussed today is financial considerations and overview. I do not have any financial disclosures to make. Now, if you have taken that leap of faith and decided to take that final plunge into private practice, there are certain facts that you must take into consideration. First, now you are in the business of medicine, and profit and loss should be part of your daily jargon. This is something that we always avoid talking about, profit and loss, but it should be something that you discuss openly. And your financial management will be the ultimate deal breaker whether you succeed in your venture. Now, the fundamental goal of financial management is to have a very comprehensive plan, a thought out plan, which allows you to use your funds intelligently and reduces and minimizes the risk which is involved with your venture and which comes with every venture that you go into. You must have a project, and you must estimate the various costs which are involved, and your expense, and how you're going to get your revenue, and when you're going to get your revenue. You must have a plan about it, and every detail should be documented and organized. Now, the basic elements of financial planning involves you evaluate what expense there is going to be, you plan your expense, and you control your expense. Now, your expense starts right in the beginning when you rent a space, or you decide that you're going to build a hospital, or you're going to take another running hospital and you want to run that by yourself. Or the ownership, whether you're going to do it solo or you're going to go in a partnership with anyone, whether it is going to be an equity or a debt funding, you're going to go with an absolutely brand new equipment, or you're going to go for hand-me-downs or refurbished ones. You plan your expenditure and then you control your expenses. Now, there are certain spoilers. You must remember that in an ophthalmology practice, your asset requirement, your capital requirement is going to be very high. Then you need some money for controlling your day-to-day expenses, which is besides the loan that you're taking or that corpus that you have. You have to invest in marketing in 2024 onwards. This is going to be a major chunk of your money that you require every month. There are government compliances which are getting stricter day by day. You have to comply to that. There is market competition, especially in tier 1 and tier 2 cities. Every nook and corner is filled up with ophthalmologists who are practicing. So that is something that you have to take into consideration. And customer loyalty with the number of freebies and the free OPDs that are going on, loyalty is fickle. Then if you are a first generation ophthalmologist, you have a brand to build up. That is something that you have to work on. But please do not be demotivated. What is important, that you have a chance to bring your vision to fruitful and build a team as you want it. And by rough estimates, one can say that it takes almost 3 to 4 years to break even into an investment. But there are practices which have done very well in 6 months to 1 year if you've had a luck and your choices that you've made intelligently. Now, fund generation. The options that you have, finance yourself, you have friends and family who to invest, you can take up a bank loan, or you can invite investors. To rely solely on your savings remains the most hassle-free way of funding. But important to understand that it takes time for a hospital to earn profit. And then you need a corpus as a backup plan, because there are going to be times and moments when you have difficulty in covering your overhead costs and your monthly expenses. Your friends and family can chip in, but they must know that there is financial risk involved, and they should have realistic expectations and not think that they are putting in money and going to get returns immediately. You can have a solo practice when it's your own money, or you can, as sir explained, you can have a partnership or a group investment, and so the burden of finance gets distributed. But each model has its own inherent strengths and weaknesses, as we saw in the previous presentation. Now, post-COVID, private equity investment in healthcare sector has increased. But if somebody invests, unknown person invests for you, you lose a bit of control, total control over your decision-making process. You understand that. If you're very lucky, somebody is going to invest for you right from the beginning. But most of the time, you have to make that effort to build a brand, and then the money can come in. Now, obtaining finance from banks is the easiest way out. You are a sitting duck, and the banks consider you a doctors at the least risk borrowers. So you can get finance from a bank. The advantages, of course, they do not interfere how you're going to utilize that money that you're going to take. There will be good interest rates, flexible repayment options, but the disadvantages you must take into account. Risky venture because initial revenues are slow and they barely cover the EMIs. This is especially relevant for a beginner practitioner. If you have given a collateral, then it is at risk if one fails to make the necessary repayments. And of course, you need, despite the loan, you need definite working capital for your expenses. Your eligibility, of course, if you have experience and they feel that you are able to run and you have a definite business plan in mind, then you qualify for a loan. You must have a good track record. If you are a previous defaulter, then that is a negative on your score. You have to submit a project report that entirely details your plan. You can get it done from a professional person, or there are a lot of templates available which basically how you're going to plan, what is your expense you're going to be, which equipment you're going to buy, from where your revenue is going to come, why and what is the feasibility, why your center is going to flourish in that particular area, the location that you decide on. So it outlines all that. Just remember, there's about the bank loan that this, other than the interest, there are a lot of processing charges which you have to pay, and which may be non-utilization documentation charges or processing fee. Then moratorium is a term you must understand, that it is a period that you get before your EMI starts. So it ranges from 12 to 18 months, and then the repayment tenure, it is as per your convenience from 8 to 10 years. You can compare the terms and conditions of different lenders and then finalize. Then you can have a term loan with a cash credit, so that there is a monthly corpus from which you can take out money and pay your fixed costs that happens. Always remember that if you default on your EMIs, then you have to pay a penalty, and you are going to have much problem in procuring a next loan. And if you are taking up a private bank loan, then understand that your interest can get reviewed anytime. It's not that if you've taken it at 11%, it's going to stay the same for the entire tenure of your loan, repayment of the loan. You can opt for an MSME registration, which gives you a benefit of having a loan without a collateral and additional incentives, which all these, it's difficult to explain everything within this 10 minutes. Now coming to ground realities, once you have got the funding that you need for your hospital. Now the financial sustainability depends on two things: maximum revenue and cost containment. Now you can do professionally a cost benefit analysis which can give you a brief idea of how viable your project is going to be and what you should do to make it viable. Your main investment, at least in ophthalmology, goes into equipments. Almost 30 to 40% of your money that you are going to put in goes into equipments, and then your renters, and if you're going to rent or lease out, and your salaries, this accounts for another 10 to 20%. And rest, of course, you have maintenance and registration and compliances and other overheads. Once you've set up a hospital, the main revenue that is going to come is coming from your consultation fee, the diagnostic and investigations that you do, the surgical fee, which accounts for 50 to 70% of your total revenue. If you have a pharmacy, you earn from that. It is important to go into opticals right from the beginning, because that becomes a big money, that accounts for a lot of money inflow. And your pathology, if you've done that, and other sources such as donations or grants or any support, that counts your money. Your surgical earnings, out of the surgical earnings, you have 50% of the money will be cash flow and rest will be from TPAs or insurance. But important to understand that it takes almost 1 to 2 years to get all your accreditation, your TPA, your Ayushman, everything in place. It does not happen immediately. Your expense, major expense comes into salaries, almost 40% of it. You have fixed costs which you have to pay every month, which is your interest rate, your rent, your maintenance, your salaries, your insurance, and then your variable, which varies from month to month, your consumables, electricity, water, and temporary wages. Cost containment measures, at least for a beginner practitioner, you're not into second generation, you do not have already established practice, better to take a lease, do not splurge onto interiors, you upgrade as you invest and you grow into your practice. You hire only as many people who are necessary, you multitaskers, you spend on equipment and technology because that is important. You can, so far as equipment is concerned, only buy compulsory things, upgrade in a phased manner. You can do an OPD and share your surgical services. A lot of cities have rent or pay per use facilities for equipment, or you can go in for refurbished or hand-me-downs. Once, if you decide on a new equipment to buy, get quotes from multiple vendors. Invest in your Indian-make equipments. They're cheaper and have a better service. Keep your bundling or use practical. Do not get influenced. Be aware, but do not get influenced by practices next door. You just bite as much as you can chew. You must take and discuss and take help from your seniors and colleagues and utilize their experience. Regulate expenses on consumables. Club your OTs. Keep monitoring whatever you spend and keep it all documented, and so that you plug loopholes. And you must monitor patient inflows, have proper SOPs, and you have multitasking staff so that your unnecessary expense is regulated. It is 2024, and if you want to start a practice, get your CA on board before you plan a project. It is important to understand your GST, your compliances right from the beginning so that you make the least mistakes. It is something you cannot afford to learn as you go on, because a lot of times once you start buying an equipment and through a loan you have to pay a GST, you'll get an invoice with a GST. It is all white payment and you cannot fudge it once you get into it. So the discounts that you can imagine, that does not happen. So always confer with your CA, an analyst, and it will help you to plan it in a better way and utilize your money to the maximum. And then you can understand these terms. Everything is very technical and it goes by the book. There are certain terms that you can calculate. If you buy an OCT, you can find out that if this is, I'm going to charge 2,500 rupees for an 28 lakh OCT, how many investigations do I need in a month to break even in say 2 years or 3 years? That is something you can have and understand. You can see whether you are going along track. Return on investment. These things we must be aware of when we are going to start a practice. Maybe if I have demoralized and if I have warned you enough, you must look at the brighter side that healthcare startups have the highest survival rate in the small business industry. But it is important to tread surely but cautiously. Thank you.
Very nicely present, Ranjana. Please, sir.
Morning, ma'am. Actually, Dr. Sudhir, I want to ask, like right now, a lot of private equity-backed corporate chains, they're not just in the... A lot of private equity-backed corporate chains, they're not just in the metro cities, they're also in the second-tier cities. They're quickly expanding, even acquiring practices. For young ophthalmologists who don't have a background, like family of ophthalmologists want to start on their own, like maybe not now, at least in the next 5 years, as every year exponentially, isn't the opportunity cost of going into private practice, the risk also increasing because the turf is like kind of changing as...
Yes, it is changing, but you will never be out of vogue.
Right.
A private practitioner. It is not possible for a corporate and their practices to cater to the population that needs to be catered to. Group practices are going to be the mode of practice in future, and I would suggest that you do it in a better way because you share your responsibility, you share your expenses, you have all the subspecialties under one roof, and that is the only way you can counter a corporate practitioner. I would never suggest to go in for free OPDs to counter them in their own turf. You have to think of out-of-the-box ideas, because I don't think any private practitioner is going for free OPDs. And the kind of practices that they cater to, I don't think that is your cup of tea. Moreover, if you don't go in, you can have only two options. Either you go into a regular job and you have so many hospitals, government hospitals to work for, or you work for somebody else. But beyond a point of time, you are going to question whether this is satisfying your instinct as a practitioner. In that way, if that is going to happen to most of us, there are two kinds of people. So if you have that instinct, you think that I would want to do that, better to start early. Better to start early. Because you have less responsibilities at home for your kids and rest of the family, and you can put in more money into it and invest, and you have time to break even.
Exactly. Actually, there used to be a term called MRTP, मतलब monopoly, restrictive trade practices. लेकिन अभी जो हो रहा है, they are burning cash. Corporates are burning cash. 99 rupees में OPD चलाता है, और only to root out, to destroy the local ecosystem of the doctor, because they know that they will come and they will join them. But still, they are giving you opportunity to earn and to save, and they start with big bang. This is one of the great challenge, but it can be taken care of by your idea. So, in a nutshell, you have fixed costs for which you need fixed capital, means instrument, fixed cost. So, you will have to arrange for that in the beginning itself by your own finance or from any other source or bank. And there is another set of cost, that is recurring cost, that is salary, electricity, etc. That you can take care of by daily earning from OPD or surgery. These two things should be taken care of, but fixed cost should, arrangement for fixed cost should be done before, and the recurring cost can be taken care by daily income itself.
I now call upon Dr. Abhishek Ranjan for next important talk on equipment and technology.
In a government job also, from there he has collected some amount and saved it and invested it. Now he is in group practice. Earlier he was also in private practice, so he has more experience regarding how to run a practice.
So
now,
good,
Abhishek, please.
Good morning, everyone. So after seeing all the financial constraints, like how you will get the money and arrange all the money for your private practice, so how to invest it in your equipments, so what are the necessary equipments that you have to buy, and what are the fancy instruments among the sea of such a bundle of instrument, you have to choose your armamentarium very judiciously. So I have no financial interest. So planning for the instruments according to the finance is very important, and plan your budget first and then instrument according to the need and your priority. Like if you are interior segment surgeon, then you buy instrument accordingly, and if you are having more in the private posterior segment, then you can plan accordingly. So I have divided it in two parts. First, must have or essential instruments, and then can have so desirable instruments, then you can buy later. So first, must have instruments for OPD. That autorefractometer is a must instrument. You can either buy autorefracto with keratometer, or you can, if you have your budget is lower, then you can buy autorefractometer and along with the manual keratometer. Tonometry is a must instrument in your OPD practice. So a planation tonometer is a must, and you can buy, for saving your time, you can buy either handheld tonometers or non-contact tonometers. But your budget is not permitting for any of these. At least you can have Sion's tonometer in the beginning. Other setups like in optometry setup, like vision drum, LCD, you can buy a vision drum for in lower cost, or you can have a vision drum and trial frame and trial set is a must thing. Chair knit you must have in your OPD to see the patients. Slit lamp, you can buy either a slit lamp, 3-step slit lamp in the beginning, but if your budget permits, you must have slit lamp with photographic system, because this photographic system helps a lot in convincing your patient and to counsel your patients. You must have indirect ophthalmoscope along with the various fundus lenses like 90D or 20D in your OPD. Nowadays there are very Make in India companies who are making cheaper lenses and indirect ophthalmoscopes also. EMR is a must nowadays. It helps in managing your daily OPD data as well as your logistics also. So basic OPD setup cost around 8 to 10 lakhs. Accordingly, you can plan some instrument and you can just do plus or minus according to your budget. In OT setup, you must have autoclave. Initially, you can buy just basic autoclave, and if your budget permits, later on you can buy B class autoclave also. Ultrasound, you can start with ultrasonic biometer. That is cheaper. You can get it in 2 to 3 lakhs around. You must have cataract surgery set. You can buy your steel cataract set, but if your budget permits, you must go for titanium sets. And if you are a oculoplasty surgeon and doing DCRs and other surgeries, then basic instrument you must have in your OT. You can start with good quality, lower in microscope, and basic surgical recording system is also necessary nowadays to show your work in any conferences or present your work in publicly. Phaco machines you can buy according to your budget, like it comes around 14 to 15 lakhs to 30 or maybe 30 lakhs in the beginning. You can choose according to your choice. But there are certain instruments you can buy later on or you upgrade later on as your practice will build. Like you can have 5-step slit lamp with high-end imaging system, ND-YAG laser you can have, or you can have BS scan. Initially you can refer for all these to your colleague who are having all this system. Earlier you can collaborate with them. You can have perimeter also. So Humphrey perimeter is a little expensive. It comes around 15 lakhs. But nowadays there are many portable perimeters are available, which comes around 3 lakhs, and results are comparable with all the Humphrey perimeters. So you can consider for this portable perimeter also in the beginning. You can have OCT, or if your budget permits, then OCT with angiography, fundus camera or FFA or ICG system you can have, and green laser. If your budget permits, you can have later on. In the beginning, for all this, you can refer to your colleague who are doing it. Lens meter is a basic instrument you can have in your for optometry practice. You can have, and optical biometer you will require if your surgical volume is very high and you want a very precision surgery. Then optical biometer you can buy later. In OT, you can have high-end range microscope for your high volume surgery, and red glow device if not available with the microscope. You can have high-end phacoemulsification system if your surgical volume is very high. So to conclude, plan your budget first and then instrument according to your need and priority. You can start with low-end good quality equipments and upgrade gradually as the practice building up. High-end instruments are required if paid OPD is more than 30 to 50 per day, and upgradation to high-end surgical equipments can be done if surgical volume is very high, suppose more than 8 to 10 cases per day. Thank you.
I'm giving idea. Even if you have less budget, you can start, number one. And then you can always save some money and upgrade your clinic. This is the natural way. And for higher equipments, I would always suggest that one should go in collaboration with some other colleague who is your partner. And इससे क्या हुआ कि शिकायत भी वो आपका नहीं करेगा कि केस खराब कर दिया. तो इसलिए कुछ न कुछ किसी न किसी के पास भेजते रहिए उसको.
I think the irony is that once a person starts his practice, he knows many things. He knows many things and he wants to do many things. And that requires a higher instrumentation. So, as you rightly said that there are certain must-haves. You should have certain amount of money which you think that that's the startup, and later on the institute is going to decide how high-end you are going to go. Because I think just the desire and will to do because you know it does not lead to the optimal utilization of instruments which you have procured, and you become in a financial distress if you are an individual practitioner. If you are collaborating in you have a group practice, then the instruments are optimally utilized. I think I'm telling the viewpoint of each and every one of you who must have faced initially. So this is what I feel. I mean, if you can add on to this.
So this very at least that's a desire and having a reality is a two different aspects. So you will have desire to have this thing, this
No,
thing.
desire, what I mean to say that you are capable.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you want to deliver.
Yeah,
You had been trained, you have delivered there, and now in private practice the limitation is that you just don't have that equipment and you want to have it somehow.
Correct.
So the timing becomes very important, and the more you delay.
इसी में एक suggestion था मेरा कि जैसे नया डॉक्टर टोटी पोर्टेंट होता है, they can develop into either cornea or retina or even oculoplasty, and some instruments in especially oculoplasty setup is not very high end, costly, very costly. So they can learn and do their show their experiences and earn from that also, even if you have less budget.
Any comments, Dr. Subhash, who is here?
सुभाष नहीं बताएंगे ये सब चीजें.
So because of the shortest time, we can discuss it at the end. Now I call upon Dr. Tarannum for important talk on establishing an ophthalmic operation theatre.
Good morning, everybody. Today I am here to discuss establishing an ophthalmic operation theatre. Can you put up the slide? Yeah. So, thinking of setting up your own OT, let's discuss the pros and cons. It's in every certain stream of operating in their own place. The advantages of having your own OT is that you can control over the processes like sterilization and infection control. There is freedom to operate whenever you want at whatever cost you want, and you can schedule the OT according to your wishes, and yes, there is ego satisfaction. However, there are challenges like responsibilities of maintaining asepsis and sterility, the cost of setting up, the headache, paperwork and cost of accreditation, training personnel and backup for critical staff, and retaining the staff. Only you know whether you can manage the challenges. No one else can answer that part. But once you have done that, most important facts are feasibility. Rented place is better initially as you have lesser investment on land and building. Cost versus benefit analysis is also very important. See how much you are getting when you are operating at others' place. And also look if you can invite others to your own OTs, so to maximize the utilization every day. So your OT can be a part of an eye hospital or a part of a multi-specialty hospital. The important guidelines which are followed in India are the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, NPCB guideline, NABH guideline. Amongst the NGO, there are the Orbis and the site savers who have put up guidelines. All the guidelines are available free of cost online and can be referred to whenever needed. So here are the certain aspects we are going to study. First of all, the location. The location of the operating room ideally should be away from the main corridor where there is less traffic. It should be in the upper stories to meet the asepsis and modern air conditioning requirements. Norms of the setback area, fire hazard prevention and other disaster management guidelines should be there. Adhered to. Toilets and washrooms should not be directly above the OT to prevent seepage. It should also have a separate wing for future expansions. The size is 15 by 13 square feet, but the NABH shows 20 by 20. The height should be 10 feet, but if you are planning HVAC ventilation or false ceiling, it should be more than that. The corridor is 7, and the entry of entry to OT should be at least 5. So this is the usual plans, and the more recent plans have come up segregating the patients and the staff. So asepsis is achieved by maintaining a zoning, and zoning means movement from the protective zones to clean zones to sterile zones to disposal zone. The doors of OT should be a double leaf swing doors. It should be washable. Seal should be very good. The door panel can be of laminates, flush with aluminium profile. The combination of gasket and unique rail systems provide excellent sealing. The door should be easy to clean, and it can also be automated. Before the protective zone, there is this lobby, and where the patients are received, and shoe changing area. Then comes the protective zone, which is the outermost zone within the OT, and it has got an OT reception and the OT trolley bay area. Then comes the clean zone, which has got the changing rooms and the recovery rooms. Then comes the sterile area, which is the OT itself and the scrub room and the sterile corridor. So this is the zone of zero tolerance, and it has to be maintained at a high pressure. The sterile corridor should be at least 10 feet wide, and it is the area which connects the scrub room to the OT itself. The scrub area should be situated in the sterile corridor. It is an essential to have a non-slippery flooring. The scrub wash basin should be adequate depth and width to allow free and elbow movement, hand and elbow movement at the same time, preventing it from coming in contact while scrubbing. Elbow taps should be at least 10 cm above the wash basin. The disposal zone is the zone which has got this dirty corridor and the utility room. So here you see that the OT instruments are being taken by a separate door, which is separate from the patient's door, entry door, and here through the dirty corridor, it is being taken to the this disposal zone. So this is this corridor, and this is the disposal zone where she is going into. So an emergency exit or the fire exit should always be there, and fire alarms should always be put. The theatre sterile unit should have 2 parts, the equipment preparation part and the autoclave room. And the floors are very important. The floor of an OT should be non-porous, hard. Marble is contraindicated because marble is porous. It should be seamless, means it shouldn't have any joints, and it should be easily washable. The most commonly used nowadays flooring is 2 mm conductive vinyl flooring, which is electrostatic. How it is made electrostatic is by putting in copper strips. So it is done like this. So copper strips are being put over tiles, and then these vinyl sheets are being put. These are very wide sheets, different from what we are putting in homes, and we have to weld the joints. So welding is being done, and this provides you seamless floor. Electrically conductive flooring is needed in environments where static electricity could affect the electronic equipment. Ceramic tiles are not recommended because the grouting between the tiles can harbor microorganisms. The walls shouldn't have any crevices or joints. Tiles are not recommended for the same reason. Walls should be impervious to moisture and be washable. The easiest way to make them washable is to use antibacterial, washable, dust-free paints, and the color of paint should be white. Laminates of wall panels of galvanized steel or glass are used in modular OT. There should be no wall mounts. The joints between the walls and the floor should be curved. The HVAC system is recommended in OT due to the following reason: to reduce the bacterial load, to prevent cross-contamination, to create an airflow pattern, and to provide a comfortable environment. The temperature should be around 21 and ideal relative humidity should be 55. The circulating air system should be such that it comes from the ceiling and goes out through outlets. So this is the ceiling part and this is the outlet part. This outlet part should be 12 inches above the floor. The airflow should be around 25 to 35 feet per minute. There should be provision of display of all the critical parameter which is over here in the wall, and the pressure should be slightly positive. The air should be circulated with this HEPA filters which comes from the ceiling and goes out through the walls, and this is the AHU unit which is can be put on the roof also. So it should be right above the table of the surgeon. Different models of AHU are available. Ductless AHU requires lesser maintenance. So if you are don't have an HVAC system, then we can also use this dehumidifier which can give better humidity. The electrical power supply should be from these pendants so that our wires are not hanging on lying on the floors, and it is quite safe to use. The power line should be at least 220 volts. We have to have some backup in the form of online UPS, and also generator supply from the general building should be there. The water for washing your hands and can be from an RO filter, or it can be you can have a separate water plant if you are planning a bigger hospital. The septic OT should be 15 by 13 square feet, and it should have a separate entry for patient and separate scrub. All the soiled linen should be disposed and cleaned separately. This OT should have its own linen, and color coding could be done. The take-home message is always plan the design before proceeding, because you will not be able to change the design later on. It is very difficult. Go through all the guidelines before initiating any construction, and take care of zoning and asepsis, and try for a plan which has got easier maintenance. With this, I come to an end. Thank you.
Dr. Anu, for such a nice and lucid presentation. It is a guideline, basically, and it's very difficult to attain also. Now I invite Dr. Vishal Kishore for his talk on marketing and patient acquisition, which is one of the most important part of any private practice, facing the competition.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Sudhir sir, for this talk. So coming directly to my talk on marketing and patient acquisition, facing the competition. Now this is the loop which all the hospital doctors faces. Like initially the patient gets attracted to your hospital either by the references or through the reviews on internet, and after all the positive review, they consider your hospital. They come to your help desk either by call, they make a call, or they come personally, take appointment on a fixed date. On the fixed date they come either personally, or if they have fixed video call, they take the appointment in that format. Then the doctor sees on that particular date, and that is important for retention of the patient, because on that day when the patient comes, how he is treated at the reception, that is the most important part. Then the hospital ambience, then how you treated the patient, how much chair time you have given post your treatment, how much counseling your staff has done. And with all these, if the patient is happy, then these patients will advocate for future references to your hospital, and this cycle is continuous. You acquired the patient and then you retain the patient. So this is followed by almost all the hospital and the doctors. So now come the next important thing. What is patient acquisition and what is patient retention? Both these things are very important for successful running of any hospital. Now patient acquisition means the number of footfall at your hospital. This could be achieved by this social media, advertisement, any search engine optimization. We will have discussion in the further slides. Then comes the patient retention. This involves the keeping existing patient and encouraging them to return to your center. This could be done by your treatment modalities, how satisfying, means how much chair time you are giving, how much your counselor is counseling the patient, and if you are giving any loyalty programs, those things. So next come for any hospital or any doctors, how you will attract, means how you will acquire the patient. So you have some targeted population. So we can divide, like target population could be either relative or neighbors, or it could be colleagues in hospital, and then could be general population. General population we can just divide into two subgrouping. One is aged, which includes 50 plus, and then the young generation. Everyone has a different, means their thought process is different for all these populations. So how you reach to these target patients? For relatives and neighbors, if they are confident of your knowledge about your clinical acumen, so they will plan to visit your center or get operated at your center. Now, when they come to your hospital, then the most important thing which can attract them is your staff behavior. Your reception staff behavior is the first point where any patient, whether of any category, hits your hospital. So that is very important to your staff should be smart, polite, and cooperative. Then your center ambience, and after this, how much chair time you have given, how well you have treated the patient, and how much they are satisfied after their treatment. And this gives a good positive mouth-to-mouth review. That is the most important thing. So any relative, suppose for example, if you operate on your aunt, she goes out and tell all relatives, now he has operated very well, staffs are very cooperative, it's a good, clean hospital. So that will give confidence to other relatives. So relatives and neighbors will come to your hospital. So you acquire the patient and then you will retain them also. But apart from this, cashless service is important, and this is like icing on the cake. It is required for all the target patients. Then comes your colleague and hospital. This is important. You can show them your skill and your hospital infrastructure by organizing CME. Then you can regularly visit their hospital. You can have a marketing team to liaison with them. You can give incentives to the marketing staffs or the referral staffs of those hospitals. You can give doctors, reference done by doctors can be given discount. But you need a dedicated marketing team for this, because they are cream and educated class of people. So you have to take good care. And apart from this, as I said earlier, cashless service is important. Then comes the general population, which the aged group. Aged group comes to know about your hospital through your camp, positive patient review, advertisement, and the most important, mouth-to-mouth review. And for these group of patients, you can retain them with your treatment, care, chair time, and your staff behavior. This is very important for these age group patients. Then comes the general population who are techno-savvy. For them, digital marketing is important, and cashless service is a big must for them if you want to attract this group of patients. For example, just because, suppose if I am staying in Mumbai, my parents are staying in Delhi, I want to get my mom or dad operated in Delhi. So I'll first search the net, which hospital is catering what all services, we'll see the review, which hospital is giving a cashless service. Then we can guide our parents to you can go to the hospital, they are giving cashless services, and we can take the appointment. So for this type of generation, like young age group, this is very important. We can go for simple digital marketing like Just Dial, Practo, Sulekha, etc. There are many more. Now this is how they do. Like first the patient get attracted to your hospital by this ad, Facebook ad, Instagram ad. They take a positive review of your hospital, connect to your hospital, and come to your hospital. Once with their treatment, they are happy with the treatment, then they are retained at their hospital. Now this is the flow chart, means how the patient gets attracted to take a positive review for your hospital and comes to your hospital. Now for all these things, online reputation is important, because these group of patients, whenever if you are getting a negative feedback in search engine, your hospital won't pop up. So for that, you need either you have to ask your patient to give a positive feedback, or you need some marketing agent who can just track a positive feedback, so that every time search engine pops your hospital name or your name as the most famous ophthalmologist of this, but of Kolkata or Patna, whatever. So this is important. Now then comes how you want to, whether you want to just stick to digital marketing, or you want to, Means how you want to target the patient. So depending on that and how much you want investment, you can decide on many digital platform which is available in the market. Whatever said, mouth to mouth is the best. Means it is the best for patient acquisition and patient retention. But as said, when in Rome, you have to behave like a Roman, so you have to stick even to this digital marketing, which is costly for a doctor apart from all the investment infrastructure, but you have to go for it. Now, this is a stage of patient when they come to your hospital. First, they get aware of about your hospital and they take appointment. This depends on your marketing skill, which could be either through camp or advertising or whatever. Then patient comes to your hospital, takes treatment, and after treatment they are happy. So this depends on your doctor and your staff. Means doctor skill, care, chair time, and your staff behavior. So this is the stage of patient journey to your hospital. Now simply for doctors, digital marketing is now the in thing. You can do it yourself also. You can create a page for yourself. You can maintain a website. You can ask all your patients to roll out reviews. Means patient who are happy, your staff can just give a link for a positive review. You can register yourself for medical directory like Just Dial, Practo and others. Search engine optimization is done by marketing agents. Social media and email is a good marketing tool. And video marketing gives the best result. Then you should have targeted ads. And you reach out for referrals. Means depending on your subspecialty, you can reach for referral to the targeted doctor, your friend, your known ones, those things. Now, apart from this, you always have to take a close look at your acquisition marketing strategies. Are they driving results? Is patient acquisition techniques you are adopting will help your hospital attract more qualified patients? Because low patient acquisition is a sign that your hospital isn't effectively connecting with a potential patient. The most important question is why? The answer is the patient acquisition is not a single factor. It is multifactorial, and so you have to relook your strategies. Whether maybe your healthcare marketing strategies aren't reaching the right audience at the right time, or maybe there are insufficient segmentation for audiences who would benefit from more specialized care. Does digital front door reach patients who come across your hospital? But these are just a few questions your marketing team should consider when developing a plan to boost brand awareness and optimize outreaches. Due to continued growth in direct and indirect competition for elective healthcare practices, accompanied by dynamic advertising market, medical marketing has become more complicated than ever. So to summarize, for patient acquisition, digital marketing is important, especially for young generation. Incentive in the form of to marketing people and referral hospital is important. Cashless services is very important if you want to lead this market. But the most important is mouth-to-mouth review. That is the best and long-lasting. And for a good outcome, amalgamation of all technique for patient acquisition is important. And for retention, your treatment, your care, your hospital staff behavior, hospital ambience is of utmost importance. Thanks for patient listening.
Thank you, Vishal. Such a nice suggestions. Actually, problem क्या है ना कि patient बोलते हैं मेरे यहाँ डॉक्टर नहीं है और डॉक्टर बोला है मेरे पास पेशेंट नहीं है, तो कहीं ना कहीं लोकेशन या नीश भी इम्पोर्टेंट बन जाता है कि जहाँ पर डॉक्टर की जरूरत यानी आपकी जरूरत है वहाँ आपको पहुँचना पड़ेगा at their time. ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे टाइम पर ही वो आए. जैसे कोई आदमी एक एरिया है जो यहाँ केवल ऑफिस वाला है, तो वहाँ आपका डे प्रैक्टिस उतना अच्छा नहीं भी हो सकता है, लेकिन ग्रामीण क्षेत्र है तो वहाँ आपको डे वाला चलेगा. तो ये सब थोड़ा छोटे छोटे चीजें जिस पर भी ध्यान देने पर और अच्छा रिजल्ट मिल सकता है. बहुत अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन था. Dr. Vishal, I request you to continue with Dr. Deepak Agrawal's presentation, who could not make it today. And now, please, Dr. Vishal.
Coming challenges and strategies establishing a private ophthalmic practice. Now, India is about to enter the fourth stage of demographic transition, post-2026. Single specialty hospitals are gaining momentum with the inception of hospital focusing on a single branch of care. Now, cataract surgery and diagnostic equipment, followed by glaucoma, form the largest sub-market in terms of revenue of ophthalmic industry. We have got to design smart hospitals that respond to present need while anticipating future changes. All successful hospitals, without exception, are built in a triad of good planning, good decision and construction and good administration. In the era of medical insurance where NABH accreditation becomes a necessity, it's prudent to go through the NABH guidelines prior to designing a hospital. Now, size of hospital depends upon a hospital bed requirement, which in turn is a function of size of population it is serving. Now, as per the Indian Public Health Standard, annual rate of admission as 1 per 50 population, average length of stay in a hospital as 5 days, bed occupancy is determined by the population size of the city or district and the annual rate of admission. A thorough evaluation of location, size of land and cost are factor in this decision. Now, the hospital planning can be divided into two categories. Feasibility study for the hospital to be located in a particular area and actual planning of the building and equipment. Now, in the feasibility study, we have to analyze the need for the hospital in that location, site condition, economy of the area, the catchment of the area for the patient, and availability of manpower and financial resources. The need of the hospital in a particular location. It is better to appoint a consulting firm who is specialized in hospital planning to survey the locality. In the survey, they should examine whether the local community will be able to use the hospital and whether they can afford for the services given by the hospital. Now, in the site condition, the selected site should be large enough for the future expansion. It should be suitable for building construction and it should not be waterlogged area and should be easily accessible for any direction. It should be preferably have bus route and should be on main road. Now, coming to the economy area where the hospital is going to be located, we should study the earning capacity of the people in that area so that the hospital can be designed in a moderate way or luxury way. Always we should see that services should be affordable by the local community. The facilities should be available for all categories of the people. Coming to the catchment of the area for the patient to utilize the service. In the preliminary survey, we should find out whether the people can use the services of the hospital or not. Then comes the availability of manpower. We should ascertain whether enough paramedical staff and other personnel like sweepers, watchmen, office staff, etc. are available locally. Also, facilities like transport, education institution and other basic facilities should be available for the staff nearby the institution. Then comes the most important financial resources. We have had a separate talk on it, so I'll just wind up this fast. That more time to be spent on planning the preliminary things. In our country, we spend less time in planning, more time in executing. So by this, there will be a lot of changes in planning and also more of remodeling, which will cost more money. So we have to plan before execution. Then comes the actual planning of the building and equipment. After preliminary studies and survey, the planning of building may be done. We should appoint an architectural firm who is well versed in hospital designing. We have to prepare a master layout so that the positioning of various buildings can be located in that site. Then comes the hospital. This could be divided. We can subgroup into corporate hospital, government hospital and private clinics. Also, it can be divided into general hospital and specialty hospital like eye hospital, cancer hospital like this. In master plan, we should provide space for future expansion and the facilities should be provided in such a way that common facility like x-ray, lab, scan, etc. can be provided in a common area so that all the department can easily access those facilities. And every specialty has, according to economic condition of patient and demand from the community, the inpatient room should be designed. In some places we should have luxury rooms, where other places we may need more common rooms. Facilities should be provided in the hospital for public such as toilets, wider veranda, cafeteria, gift stores. The nursing station should be centrally located. Reception area should be welcoming, should have a welcoming atmosphere for the people who visit your hospital. When you plan for a specialty clinic, the requirements should be discussed with the people who are going to use the department, and the layout of the various facilities should be done according to the flow of the patient. Coming to compliance like director index, then registration, rental lease, fire department NOC, building occupancy certificate, biomedical waste disposal certificate, civil surgeon state registration, pharmacy registration, drug, these licenses, what all the protocols as per NABH and other thing, you have to fulfill this. So to conclude, no patient wants to end up in a hospital, but when they do, they want the experience to be frictionless, comfortable and reassuring as possible with minimal wait and delay. The reality is that despite impressive advances in medical innovation, hospital care today is too often plagued by disconnects and inefficiencies that get in the way of optimal experiences and outcome. So as envisioned, connect people, data and technology in a very intelligent way to improve operational efficiencies, advance clinical excellence and create seamless patient experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Sorry. Thank you, Vishal. Any question from audience? Now we can have a group photograph of the presenters.